streams.
Yeah, I am too.
And so they're all different parts of the experience, or and like the memories. Um, I think the intelligence that comes from the awareness expanding, humility, uh, stupidity and reverence,
Yeah.
ignorance and reverence, which then leads to, for me anyway, it like leads to laughter.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, hang on, we're live, so anything you say from this point forward will be held against you in the people's
Okay.
court. Let me just double check it on my phone, make sure all three platforms got off. All right. Yeah, there's just all kinds of things. And there also, to me, there's like this, you have the five senses, right? And then we have
Yes.
the third eye. And then there's things like deja vu and, all these other things, Mandela effect or whatever. But to me, my five senses, something's starting to come in. And I first noticed it seeing little things, like flashes of light or flashes of dark move around. Like it happened a few times and I'm like, man, what the hell? But then it kept going on and I'm like, oh wait, something's coming in.
Mm. I'm seeing spirals. Do you remember a show back in the 70s or 80s called The Time Tunnel?
That was my favorite show. That was
There
my
you go.
very favorite show.
So I'm seeing that spiral
Uh,
coming back to us. So what I'm feeling is that we're seeing the part of us that projected all these experiences, people, timelines, little pebbles, pathways that we've been on to reach this point. And it's almost like we're coming back to that being that wanted us to reach this point. It's our fate, our destiny, and we're meeting up. Those points are all converging in this
yes.
spiral. But it's not just in the heart. I'm feeling it in our whole being. I'm seeing it in the third eye. I'm seeing it in the heart. And then when I feel into it, I
Yeah.
feel that it's our whole being now is this convergence of
That's
all
what I
those
meant.
timelines.
Yeah. That's what I meant when you asked me. I don't know if we cut it on tape, but you were saying, given everything, are you feeling like this tickling or tingling of
Yeah.
excitement?
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
even there's a broader description, just like what you just talked about in general. Um, because if we said that before 2025, or say before the solstice in 24, because that was the end of that 12-year period. Um,
Yeah.
if we said, you know, something, it's very singular. And now what you just said is like it's much more expanded. I
It
can
is.
say yes because I can feel it in my body. I can say
Yeah.
yes
That's
because I
exactly.
feel it in my third eye. I feel it in my heart.
Yes. It's
It's
your whole
coming.
being.
Yeah, it's coming online. That's why I said, oh, I'm sorry. I got off track, but I mean, that's why I was saying, yes, I'm feeling it, but I'm feeling like multiple streams. And the way you described it with the time tunnel and you basically almost like this is a summary life. Okay.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
it's the final cycle of the cycle of all cycles. Like the clock
Yes.
has gone all the way around and it's about to strike 12 in
Yeah.
death and birth, you know.
And we've
And
come back to the beginning. We've come back to the source.
we're
We've
coming
come
back.
back to source.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it, metaphorically, maybe even literally. And I feel like we're going to get to a level of awareness, because we have this thing, and I know I'm not the only one, and I think you're probably like this too. I want to know more. I want to know more. I want to know more. And there's a reason we're not learning any faster than we are, if you want to put it in those terms. But once we click, we're going to wish we could stop this thing and slow it down.
Yes. But
You
you
know what
know
I
what
mean? We're
else
gonna be like,
though?
no, 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 I don't want to leave yet.
Yeah, but the thing that I'm getting is this thirst or hunger that we've had for so long to want to know more.
Mm,
It's almost like we need to let that go and allow the memory to emerge. It's almost like we've been trying to hunt down our spirit or poke it with a stick because we know it's there and we just want to try and bring it out. And it's hiding in a corner because it doesn't want to be trapped. It doesn't want to be hunted. So it's gone to the furthest niche, in the back of the room, and we're in there poking with a stick saying, I know you're in there. Will you come out? Because I want to see you. And it's saying, no, I'm not going to come out. It's almost got a cat personality. Cats,
Well,
you open the door.
what do they call that thing? Starts with an O, the snake eating its tail. I always say
Yes, they're
the dog, we're the
Ouroboros.
dog chasing its tail. We're going to find out when
Yes,
that damn thing comes out. It's us,
yes,
you know?
yeah. But I see it as a cat. You know how cats, they're very aloof and they'll do what they want to do in their own time. And if you open the door, they'll just sit there looking at you, and then they'll go out and you'll close the door and they'll want to come in, and then you'll open the door and they wander off. And then you close the door and they want to. So eventually we'll be in the same side. We'll
Yeah,
be there, and the cat has the key. The inner being has the keys, and they'll come out when they're ready. They'll open the gate
yeah,
when they're ready.
yeah.
And we now, I think, need to just sit in this stillness and wait and just,
The cat thing, I'm living with two cats
there you
until
go.
late October. One's a male, one's a female. And I had a huge, just a general overview. I just lay down to bed at 12 midnight on June 1st, literally. And there was an explosion outside my window, and I looked. And in that moment, by the way, the electricity went off, which was off and on all night long. I'm in Mexico. It's very hot. But anyway, when I looked out the window, as I glanced out the window, there was this huge orange portal blew up in the sky. And it was too high off the ground to be a transformer because I know what's out the window. It was pretty powerful. But since then, everything seems to be moving really, really quick. And part of my evolution in this time period has been through these two cats. They're actually speaking more as a consciousness, her as a feminine, him as a masculine, and I
Yeah,
mean it came full on like the first and the second and the third of June, and
yeah,
and so to me, like you said, all these things are coming back. It's almost like we exhaled and now we're inhaling it all back in
yeah.
and getting all the coding from it and
That's right.
seeing
The
all these things, a
codings.
life review and form. And then we're going to go back to this point, the 0 point, which is the
Yes,
mother's womb, which is that 10% of the mother that she doesn't even know what it is. It's the
yeah,
risk she took, you might say, when she split herself and made her partner. You could look at it that way metaphorically, but so we don't know where this goes. That's why I'm saying, as we become more aware, I feel like we're going to be like, whoa, slow the roller coaster down. I
yeah.
want to stay in the amusement park. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
right. And have fun. I think this is what we're also shedding, the seriousness and the heaviness that we've collected during this pathway, like it hasn't been easy. And I think this rebirthing is of a childlike energy that's curious and playful and
yeah,
strong, but very, very powerful.
yeah,
And it wants to come out. When it's ready, it will open the gate and come out and play. And yet it's still got all the wisdom that we've
yeah.
accumulated. We
That's
haven't
that's
lost any.
that's the perfect description. You're giving the perfect description of I mean, as good as we can, of what the energy is from the human comprehension, and it is the childlike wonder,
Yeah.
curiosity, authenticity, transparency. But you're right. You mentioned also the word power. It's kind of
Mhm.
like you walk into a bar and there's 25 guys and there's this one dude that's just, just really, you look at him and he's like the sun shining and he's not bothering anybody. And one night somebody bothers him.
Yeah. Poke.
And from that
Yeah.
day forward, nobody will ever F with them again, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. And that's why this energy won't be bullied. It won't be pushed around. It won't come out until it's ready. It's very powerful and can block us from doing anything
Yeah.
if it's not aligned, the right path. And then we just have to surrender to it really and just say, all right, I'm ready when you are. And just
Yeah.
in the stillness, getting into that stillness is how we align with
I think,
I
I
think it's
think
our true self. I think it's our true self.
like even trying to figure out what it is, I am soul. And that means so much more now than it did before 2025. But
Yeah.
um, I feel like this is part of the reason. I don't know about you or your clients. I know you're a practitioner. But I know because I remember in the middle of May, I was going, it's going to be a hot, hot summer. Same cycles as the, 3 or 4 last years. I mean, like a lot of burn, a lot of stuff coming up. I could feel it. And yeah, I think that, we definitely, I guess it would be after what the summer solstice, like really kicked it off. And then
Yeah.
the 7-7 gateway, and
Yeah.
there's going to be the longest eclipse of the season, I think on August 2nd. Now, I don't follow those things as like, oh my God, what something's going to happen. I'm just, you can see the waves of energy. But I think a lot of people have gone into solitude and isolation, either by force or by flow. And,
Mm.
it could be 5 minutes for me and 5 days for you, or vice versa. You know what I mean? Like we're
Yeah.
taking the
Yeah.
time. There's a lot of self introspection. Are you experiencing that, or any of your
Yes.
clients?
Yes. Yes. A lot of people are experiencing trauma at the moment, or
Mm,
any energy that hasn't been looked at is coming out through the body in different ways. Chronic pain, back pain, knees, that sort of thing, necks. And I think, again, that's to bring us into a place of stillness. I think stillness is the
mm,
key, so that we can hear what
mm,
our spirit wants to say to us, instead of the busy mind that's been distracting us. When we
mm,
go into that stillness and we don't have any real intention, we're not forcing anything, we're just allowing.
mm,
And that energy will then bubble up, and we'll get so much information. I'm doing series of energy work on people now, that I've never done it in consecutive days like this before, because the story is unfolding. Spirit wants to tell us the story. It wants to come out and say, look, this is what's going on. And it comes out over a sequence of days when I'm
mm,
working with clients at the moment. I haven't experienced this before. Normally it would be one session here and there over several months. This is now days,
yeah,
consecutive days.
yeah,
And things, like you say, people might be on a spiritual path for 20 years, and other people might have just started and they're at the same point now. They're awakening to the same messages in
yeah,
such a short period of time. So I think
yeah,
there's an urgency or an acceleration for people to remember. It's all about remembering who we are and why we came here.
yeah,
That's what I'm feeling.
yeah. I mean, it's like, to me, it's like, because look, last time we did a show was like maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago, or whatever. I guarantee
Yeah.
you a lot of what we were talking about was the same thing. Now, I don't mean that in a lesser way or even a greater way. I just mean the patterns of awakening and awareness. And um, as a result, the human's assimilation with what was going on. You know what I mean? It's like a
Yes.
wave. There's a
Yes.
reason that we're not getting everything quicker or whatever, but we're not in linear time. And so that's
Yes.
another huge factor. So when you look at any event in life, anything in front of you or even behind you, we have been conditioned to, part of our measure of it is based on time. So say you and
Mm.
I have this really good connection, and we've known each other 2 months, right? And somebody
Yeah.
else I might have known for 20 years, and
Yeah.
yet it's they both took me to the same place, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So
Yes, I
the
do.
time factor is going away, and that's really
Yes.
changing. That everything's speeding up. If you look at what technology has been released, because whatever has been released, there's so much more behind it. Like they're
Yeah.
50 years in front of us. But
That's
if
right.
it's
Yeah.
all looked at from an energetic basis, it's the same thing that's happening inside of ourselves. This is a reflection of us, to include
Yes.
to include the the wow, how do you say this? The body kind of like becoming the point. part of our multidimensionality. Like the body is like this consciousness that's speaking to us here at the end of times, and it's coming through in what you were talking about. And I've read a lot about that. I've gone through it. I've seen a lot of people go through it in the last few months,
Yes.
and there's a reason for that. And so yeah,
I think,
I'm excited
I think,
about, like you said, I'm excited. But
yeah, I am too about where
it's a full multi-dimensional experience. And
it is.
the human's not going away.
No, and I think that's another part that we're welcoming the human part of us. The body is the pointy end. I think now. I think the body had to raise its vibration to receive
Yeah,
our higher or more higher frequency spiritual soul self, so that they could come
yeah,
together as one. So I think we couldn't do it all in one go, because
no,
it would have just blown our circuits or blown our minds. We just wouldn't have been able to understand what was going on. So I think it had to be a gradual process. It has
yeah,
taken a long time and we have felt frustrated, but there was a reason behind that.
yeah,
And it had to be in a certain sequence or steps to allow this merging of energies within us, the frequencies and vibrations, to come together
yeah,
as the
yeah,
new human,
yeah,
a
yeah.
higher frequency, higher vibrational human.
Um, Absolutely. And the more, if you look at, for instance, they call this the information age, right? So the information is coming in faster and faster and faster and faster. It's a reflection of what's happening to us as within, without. And this has been
Yep.
going on for years and years and years. And now we passed this 12-year period and all these other things, the planets are aligning and all that, right?
Yeah.
And but the bottom line to me is it is a consciousness. We are consciousness. In trying to describe it in human terms, we have an energy field that's huge. It's not this
Yes.
body, and then of course there's the quantum entanglement thing that we're touching everything. And the more that COVID would be a good example. Okay, that 3 or 4 year period, how many people in the world woke up and how
Mhm.
many people have since? And
Yeah.
then you have things like, say, that don't make sense, that look ridiculous, like Epstein, like the government coming out and saying, yeah, oh, there's all these tapes. No, there's none. Case closed. So I'm not being political or anything. I'm just giving an example of
Yeah.
this is the kind of stuff we're pulling up. That's why I said, there's a bit of stupidity there too. You realize, oh my God, I was so, I was in, stuck on the grid and I thought I
Yeah.
wasn't, or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But I feel like
Exactly.
the more conscious, the more things, and it doesn't matter if it's about 9/11, doesn't matter if it's about Arcturians, it doesn't, whatever is coming into people now, we're like sponges, and the energy that we're releasing from there, truth, frequency, is contagious. It's wordless. And I think that's going to have a big effect on uh, everything, including the light worker community, including what is healing, um,
Yes.
because really we're all like light bulbs, like fires or
Yeah.
torches, and that's pure consciousness merging with physicality. So,
Yes.
you
That's
know,
exactly right. Yes. I don't think we'll be calling it healing. And I don't call it healing anymore. I call it alignment,
mm,
bringing us to balance, because
mm,
at some point we won't need healing. Everyone will be awakened, everyone will be whole and complete. So I like to look at it as, if someone's coming into my energy field, we're just talking about bringing each other into alignment and
right,
remembering
right.
more of who we are, remembering the wholeness. And I think that's where healing is leading to now. It's more awakening and remembering and bringing
Yes.
everything online, like you said, the light bulbs.
And maybe, okay, I totally get what you're saying. And maybe ultimately a healing session, an energy session, an alignment session was a template or something that was embedded in us, leading us this direction. Because really, what happens in a session like that is the two people open up. And you're right. You're right. But in the reality, this is our natural way. Like everyone we meet is an opportunity. and we're
Yeah.
working these triggers out where people still piss us off or whatever the case is, these are going away
Yes.
by our higher perspective, our higher understanding, our our higher awareness, whatever you want to call it. This is the kind of thing that's happening, and it's happening very fast,
Yeah.
very fast.
Yeah.
Judgments depleting. It may not look like it, but
Yeah.
it is, and it's all happening within ourselves, and we know it.
Yes.
And you're not going to read about it. You're not even going to see
Yeah.
it on most any podcast. I don't think
It's more,
people
it's a
talking
feeling.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an energy and a feeling. And I'm looking more at inwardly, why did I plant these seeds or put these pebbles on this pathway to lead me to this point?
Yeah.
And that changes your whole outlook as to what's going on. You're looking at it. What if I was the person that a long time ago put everything in place, and you did too, everything in place so that we would meet at this conjunction here right now? You're on one side of the world, I'm on the other. Why did we do that? So I like to
100%. Yeah.
look at it that way then and think, why did I put all the sets in place, all the characters? It's a movie, and we've ended up here at this crossroad. Why? Why?
Why? My thing, my personal thing is, I mean, I like, okay, I'll give myself as an example. I'm living in Mexico in a cooperative fashion in a house where somebody is, that owns and is gone for a bit. And I'm sitting with these cats and taking care of this house. And it's a garden, and you got to take care of this little dipping pool. And, and it's very dusty here. So you got to really be on it. I didn't know I was going to be in this situation, you know. Um, so the circumstances or the consequences thereof, okay, don't even matter.
Mm.
The kind of existence that I've come into is just I'm here. I want to be happy. I want to be sad. I want to pursue the podcast and really get it going again, or whatever the case is. I'm just working with what's in front of me today. Like today,
Yeah,
I hedged. It's a corner house, and I hedged all the outside. Okay, and
yeah,
uh, and it was hot, and it was a lot of work. It was a lot of, you know what I mean. But anyway, my point is, it is what it is today, and
yes. I feel
and
that too. It's about the moment.
really, really, it's like the intelligence and the awareness is moving so fast that I'm a full-time job. I can talk to somebody. We can talk and talk and talk. And if we can't talk anymore, or we don't, we just, you go and do something else, then that's fine. There's like these, I don't know how to explain it, but what you talked about with like a practitioner session, um, that's the way we function. Or people talk about merging, okay, merging souls consciously. There's a practice there. You can look it up in mystery schools and sacred texts. But the fact is, that's one of the seeds that we all planted to kind of clue us back in that, hey, you are me, I am you.
Yes.
And you can't just say these words because you
Mm.
can't BS the universe. You know what I mean? But
Mm.
but I really feel like there's no question in my mind. Like we went up the mountain, and now we're
Yep.
going down.
Yep. That's right. And in the early days, I'm sure you've been on this path for a long time as well. We went so far out, didn't we?
Mm,
Like we
yeah,
when we did our meditations, we wanted to connect to all the furthest realms, the
yeah,
Arcturians, the Syrians, the Palladians. We were so far out there. It's a wonder we were able to come back. But I think what we've been doing over since then is been bringing ourselves back
yeah,
and realizing that we came here for this experience, didn't we? We came
yeah.
here to experience this physical realm. Otherwise, we would have stayed out there. We wouldn't have come into embodiment. So we made that choice,
Yeah.
and we're here. And now we're looking, I think we're retracing our steps. We're coming back to ourselves to work out, okay, I did make this choice. I've already made the leap. And now I'm looking at, all right, why do I need to remember who I am? Why do I need to remember who I
I don't.
am?
I mean, you bring up a great point because even the identities that we've attached to of what you just described are going to leave us. And so we go back to the dog chasing the tail, or you said the cat or the whatever, the snake.
The snake.
Uh, what's going to happen is we're going to catch ourselves, bite ourselves in the ass,
Yeah,
and realize it's us. And
it's
so
us.
the point to your question about what you think it is, or whatever you said when I was telling you about what I was doing today, is living, is
Yes,
living.
living the
I am
experience.
alive, and to be honest with you, I feel like I'm pretty connected, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Rip off my identities, and I don't know what happens when this physical body expires.
Yeah.
I can't tell you. I could be worm dirt, okay? But so I'm gonna
In your
live.
garden.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna live and get to know, people call it presence, being present, and get to know not just myself, but my surroundings, everyone that I run into. And I feel like that this is the kind of peace is coming in. We planted all these seeds and rituals that we could physicalize, but the ultimate reality was to bring in these activations and the kundalini and the shi and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
that's our natural nature, right?
Yes,
Like, you know what I mean?
I
This
do.
is a dense. And when people say it's never been done before in the universe, I believe it.
Yeah,
I
I do
do. I
too.
feel it. I feel it. Yeah.
I feel that too. I feel that we've come in to do something we haven't done before.
Mm,
Normally, when we go through the death process and rebirth, we come back as as someone else, as a different
mm,
body. And I think we've gone through the death and rebirth many, many times while staying here in this body this time.
yeah.
And our consciousness has evolved. It's expanded during those processes. So I agree with you that it's about being fully present, but I think it's also experiencing this magic of being the creator, feeling that creator energy and power flowing through us and being witness to conscious creation. I think that's where we're in that phase or zone now where we're witnessing little things happening. It's only small, but you can sort of get the message that, oh, that happened because I just wanted that to happen, or I'm being given everything I need in this moment, and you're conscious of that
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
There's more of those little
Yeah.
pebbles happening now.
I agree with you 100%. And I would add that if we just go back, let's just say to 2012, and we look at the things that brought us together, we look at uh, the actions we took because of the guidance we received on a personal basis that nobody else heard. You know what I mean? So there was the magic, they were starting to come out, and I 100% agree with you. It was almost like part one, say 2012 to 2024. Part one, or the first half, was to awaken.
Yep.
Okay. And
Yep.
in some sense, you get a kind of a mission or a purpose for many people that have certain roles, maybe. Okay, whatever, because that's all got to go. But anyway, the second half is okay, we're awake. We didn't come here just to awaken. We
No.
came here to awaken and then apply the new code that was created and absorbed through the experiences of our lives. And that doesn't mean when it happened. It means also when we go through this period at the end, we look back and we reflect and we go through this life review and form, and we understand, oh my God, that was beautiful too. That was beautiful too. Look at the
Yeah.
seeds that I planted. I used to damn this
Yes.
person or damn that person. So, you know, through the shows, the first part of this year, it's gradually gotten, in the last few weeks, I would say since June 1st, that uh, we can actually start to describe what the hell's going on. You
Yes.
know
It's
what I
making
mean? It's
sense.
like people are going, oh
We're
my
putting
God, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're seeing the jigsaw. We're seeing the puzzle taking form instead of just all the individual pieces. It's now
Mm,
starting to form a picture, and I'm feeling that too. Gratitude for all of it. Gratitude for every person we've met, everything that happened, every
yeah.
experience, whatever it was. It's helped us to understand more about ourselves. It's helped us to grow. It's helped us to evolve, and it's all helped us to come back to ourselves, to come back to this
Yeah.
point. And it might have been shedding stuff that we didn't need, old energy, old belief systems that happened as well. So we are so different now, and yet in other ways it doesn't feel like anything's changed at all, but we know something significant has happened.
Has to
We
be.
have.
It has to be. And
Yeah.
yeah, what you said again. I mean, that's I- and and what's happened too, I think, is in that exhale that you talked about, reaching out, reaching out, reaching out. It wasn't just to the ethers. It was, and now, well, it was, and we pulled those back, and then the focus to the human. Now we're in that part of the spectrum as we're coming to the center, and this is all that self-reflection, you know,
Yes.
and that's something to be. And so as that's happening, let's say you have one, let's say program, let's just say shame, okay, heavy program, right? I mean, heavy embedded in the body and it, ancestrally and certainly with all of us, and we had to work through some level of it, right? But
Yeah.
attached to that were a bunch of experiences. So these were a lot of the things that we had to like look at, and we were looking at them as a human, or in the majority as the human. You could call it the ego, and
Mm.
forgetting the soul. And I think that's another thing that's happening. We're one of the reasons that you know, people are tapping in and they haven't been around 2 3 years or whatever the case is, and it's working, is because they're realizing that spark, and they're looking at their human life in a different perspective. We're not judging ourselves anymore, and that's starting to transfer to not judging others. And so this
Yes.
is, to me, like I hope to be having these conversations every day and night. You know what I mean? Because I really feel like, even like in this conversation, if nobody was watching, and you see, you already like dinged me like 4 times, and it's like almost like we're going back and forth, right? But I
Yeah.
know that even with one soul, because we've all proved it, going through the dark nights, going through awakenings, and all that you know what I mean.
Yep.
One soul can light the world up, and where
Yeah.
two or more gather, boom, right? So even if no one heard us,
The
the
energy.
energetic impulse pulsation is going out. So
It is going up.
yeah,
Yes, that's exactly right. Yes. And I think so many people are feeling that now, that we don't need to change the 100 things that are going on out there. We change what's in here. And I had
mm,
that vision many, many years ago. Instead of changing what's on the projection screen,
yeah,
out there, come into the center of where the movie's being created, come back to the source. So I think that's what's happening now. We went out that way thinking that's where all the power was, that's where we needed to connect to our greater selves. And I think it's now reversing, that we're now bringing it back in here, realizing that our greatest power is now within us. And then we connect to that and then let that go out.
yeah,
So we're sending the power,
that's
like you
true.
just said,
Yeah,
out, and we can feel it when you close your eyes. Let's do it. When you close your eyes and just feel into that center, into the center of the heart, and also into the center of the third eye. So we want to include all parts: the mind, the body, and the heart, the spirit, the soul. And anyone who's watching this, if we can all do this together, we just join up this amazing energy field, so that we can all connect to our energy source, our center, through stillness. And that part of us knows who we are. That part of us has the codes, the keys, the vision of the highest version of us, of our talents and gifts, of our dreams. And we can feel it expanding. We can feel that field getting bigger. And it wants to grow. It wants to take that energy of us, that true being and frequency of who we are, out. It wants to send that energy out, the greatest version of us, all our dreams, our talents and gifts. It wants to expand out to the community, to the world. And it also contains the highest vision and version of the planet. The birds and the animals, the forests, the mountains, the lakes and rivers and oceans and deserts, all life everywhere is contained in this highest frequency and version of our source. And it's meeting up with all the frequencies and vibrations that are a match all across the world. Can you see it?
Can I see it?
Yeah, can you see it? Can you see that field going out,
I see it.
expanding?
I see it all day long. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Can you
100%.
feel it? Can you feel it connecting?
Well, I mean, like I said, I mean, I think that's part of, for me anyway, through this meditation, yeah, I mean, it's like, familiar because,
Yeah,
because, it, part of this, maybe even the biggest part of this, really, I mean, we have the connection and the merging, becoming more consciously, as we're more present with individuals, but it's really with we're rooted in Mother Earth.
yeah.
Mother
And
Earth
that's
is
why,
our mother, and so yeah, I think people have been talking about seeing the grid lit up, rise above the earth and look, and a lot of meditations like this. But yeah, I think this is part of what's coming online. Like, how do you explain that to people? But that's the
you
kind of
feel it.
kind of conscious awareness we're going to have, and just that thought alone. Like, think about that. Think if you had one, I don't know, 100 million people in the whole world that were so connected to the earth and understood and related like we're relating now, kind of thing. You know,
Yeah,
that's our mother. I mean,
yeah.
that's we're not the only ones ascending here.
No,
She's like the mother bird that's about to push us out of the nest.
that's right.
I,
Exactly
I,
right. We're flapping our wings. We're flapping as fast as we can flap so we don't fall. And we won't fall. We won't fall because we've already planted the seed. We've already taken the leap and we knew we were going to do this. We knew
well,
we were going to be here a long time ago at this point. So we're safe.
well, if
We
we
know.
fall, we're just going to fall into a bigger version of her.
Yeah,
If
well,
we
that's
fall from
right.
the tree, we're going to fall on the ground. If we fall
Yes.
from the ground, we're going to fall into the
Into the
yeah.
center of
I
the earth,
mean,
into the crystals, into the crystal
yeah,
cave
yeah.
below.
And that's another
And
thing to look at. I mean, you can look at what, like the memories that got swiped and, like say past lives or the way this thing's set up or whatever. But also if, we're made in the image, we are the children of Mother Earth. You might put it that way, as are the everything, right? And so that
yeah,
means that our connection, if not our journey, came from the very core through the crystal caves, through the
yes,
dark, through the light, through whatever's down, through the whole honeycomb of the inner earth, metaphorically speaking.
yeah,
That's not that's part of our, I would say, like my friend Franco de Nicole used to say, there's a soul lineage and then there's a human lineage. So the
yeah,
human is our extension of an experience coming from the soul, right? And so all of that information is a part of us, every bit of it. We have it all, you know?
yes. And I think what's happening is we're able to draw upon information as needed now.
Mm, mm.
Because have you noticed that sometimes you can forget even how to drive a car, like, or you forget your own name, or you forget where you
Yeah.
put something. A friend of mine said the other day, he bought some really good ice cream, like really good stuff. And he thought, oh, that's right, I bought some ice cream yesterday. where I wonder where I put it. So he had a look in the freezer. It wasn't there. And he thought someone must have stolen it because it was his best ice cream. And I thought, I don't think anyone's going to come into your house just to steal the ice cream. But anyway, let's move on. And he said, can you guess where it was? And I said, was it in the oven? Was it in the pantry? He said, no, I put it in the microwave.
Oh
That's where
my
he left
God.
it.
Oh
He
my
didn't
God.
turn the
Yeah.
microwave on, but that's where it was overnight. So, I went to the shops the other day and I couldn't remember whether whether direct debit was a thing anymore. And then they said something about wave pay, and I thought, what's wave pay? I've never heard of it. It's like the guy looked at me as if, what planet have you just come in from? Like, what
Digital,
planet
digital,
dropped?
probably digital. Yeah. They're trying to introduce a digital. Um, but I think what you're saying is that, or what you made me realize, I think it's what you're saying, or you told me telepathically, or I understood it because of you is what I'm saying, that for as much brain fog that we have from a human perspective, there's another side to that because we're getting more from the field, and we're
That's
getting it when
exactly
we
right.
we're getting it when we
When
need
we
it,
need it.
and it
Yeah,
comes in through telepathy or intuition or whatever the hell this is all, whatever that is,
yeah,
our
yeah. It
connection
just
getting
drops
bigger.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you
It's
are you
funny.
seeing are you seeing anybody that's having, we've seen a lot of healing, and a big applause for all the healers and all the work everyone did through these 12 years, where it really
Yeah,
was hard. I mean, we were going against the grain. But we've
yeah.
seen many cases of instant healing,
Yes.
um, and other, things that might have taken a little bit longer. But I mean,
Yeah.
overall, do you feel that our bodies have been regenerating, and some of the magic that you were talking about is occurring within the body, if it's all based in the body? And do you feel like that we could see, just through self-sourcing and self-alignment, because the consciousness will be such and it'll be contagious, that we'll be regenerating, growing
Yes.
younger, changing
Yes.
form, whatever, you know what I mean?
I do, and I think the physical form has been the last frontier, the last level. So we've done the mental, emotional, spiritual, and etheric upgrading, and then the final frontier, I think, has been the physical form, and it's the one that has taken the brunt of whatever's been going on in the mind and the
Mm.
emotions.
Yeah.
It's all been expressed, as you know, through the body, and I definitely feel that. I feel that the physical is changing and upgrading to a new level so we can change ourselves and rebuild and heal far more quickly. And a lot of the work that I'm doing now is distant. In fact, I find that works as well, if not better, distant energy balancing than in person, because quite often I'll work on people when it's during their night, when they're asleep. So we'll have the conversation beforehand, we'll have a consultation, I'll do the energy work, we'll have a chat afterwards, and it bypasses the mind. Then it bypasses the thinking mind that quite often goes into doubt or fear or blocks things from happening. And I was working on someone on the other side of the world, and he felt his whole body lifting off the bed.
Hmm.
And he couldn't believe it. He'd never had an energy session before. It was the first time. And he said, how can you do that from the other side of the world? It's energy, isn't it? Like
Well,
it's just
it's
such a compliment.
absolutely. And you know what? He, so you were a sphere, you were 360 degrees open, and you could be doing that in your office, or you could be doing it with me right now. You could do it with him.
Yep.
You could do it telepathically. I mean,
Yes.
but the other part is he was open all the way, even
That's
though it
right.
was his first session. So, I
Yeah.
mean, this is the kind of normal thing that is a characteristic or symptomatic of what's happening. And the thing is, the way this awareness is working, this new atmosphere, whatever we learn today, when we wake up tomorrow, it's a whole new ball game. You know
Yeah.
what I
I
mean?
know.
I'm
Yeah.
serious, because anything
Yeah.
that came from the experience, like I saw the other day, and I heard this the other day, and then I saw a meme. It was almost the same thing, and it was something like there's a fine line between insecurity and intuition that's come online because of the patterns, you know, that we have in our lives. I mean, everything is going.
Yeah.
I met so many people, like everything is going away. And I believe that that happens for everyone. I believe it happened to probably most of us in our dark night, because in a true dark night, you're there by yourself. There ain't nobody there. I don't care if you're living with 100 people.
Yeah.
Um,
That's right.
so
Very good.
now we have the value of that experience, which is the coding, which is the new coding that we created. That we're just that's the cherry on top, is
Yes.
to utilize the code that we created and we didn't even know it.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
everything flips because the reverence for the human journey aspect, soul, whatever you want to call it, becomes our greatest awareness, and then we can apply it. I mean, it's a whole different language. It's a higher dimension. There's no
Yes.
question. There's a higher
Yeah, it is.
dimension.
But I think as a humanity, we've always been curious about mysteries and solving puzzles and
Mm,
breaking codes. You know, movies and TV shows all across the decades. There've been so many of those mystery solving, case solving, puzzle solving, code breaking. And I think that's a reflection of the fact that like you said, we planted those seeds a long time ago because we knew that there's a code within us that we can crack, that we can open and
yeah,
solve to
yeah.
release this magnificent, infinite being within. And have you also had experiences where you might be in your garden and you're just focusing on working with the earth and doing all of those sorts of things, and you'll get this profound insight into something, and you'll think, oh wow, that's just incredible and amazing, and it was so profound, so big, and then you forget it. Like once you got it, once you feel it integrated within, and then a few minutes later you think, what was that about? What was that big thing that
My
that
God, yeah. I I spend just okay, so like the last 2 months, I spend every night out on the in the courtyard, and I'm there for 2 hours to 6 hours, just and I like to write. And I do a lot of blogging. So I gather 200-300 memes a day and put them into Soulogy, and
yeah,
then maybe write a couple of things or whatever. But so many times I'll be sitting out there because it's hot over here and there's a dipping pool. So I'll go, I'll sit there for a minute and then I'll go into the pool to cool off and then I'll come back. And I'm thinking, how it is, that new consciousness is our new active consciousness is coming online. So,
yeah,
anyway, so my point is, I think this is part of it. And the way I discovered it is because I would get like a flash and I'm like, oh my God, I got to write that down.
yeah.
And I get out of the pool to go write it down and I forget it. And
Exactly right.
it'll happen like 6 or 8 times in the night.
I know. It's
It's
so
crazy.
weird.
Yeah,
It'll be
it's
almost, it's
crazy.
such a big thing that it's almost life-changing. In the moment you think, wow, I never looked at it like that before. And then, then later on you'll think, what was that big thing? That big life-changing moment? What was all
I,
that about? And what I think it is, it has been integrated at a deeper level, and we don't need to remember it. It's not something we need to keep
that's
at
part
that
of
top
it.
level.
Yeah,
It's gone
that's
down to a deeper level. But
that's
it's just
part of
so
it.
funny. Yeah, it's part
See,
of the
I
process.
think the need to know
Yes,
is leaving us,
it
and
is. Was
let go or be dragged. Yeah, absolutely. Now I'm talking about from the human. Let's just say the human. Okay, say I know I'm a soul, but the way I function, the human makes the decisions
yes,
and will override the soul. And I think we've come across now, and the
I think
soul
we have.
is
Yeah,
leading the way. Okay.
yes.
I mean, if this was 12 years ago, what would that be? 2012 or 13, or even, yeah, I'm going to say even before COVID. Okay. Uh, with if you took all the things that are being presented around the world, which you got to question if they're even fucking real, excuse my French, uh, we would be talking about that. We would be talking about, in a different way. We're not even looking there anymore. Not because it's because of what you said. Ultimately, we're not looking at those things and trying to fix 1,000 points of darkness in the world. We're realizing that we are the technology and we take care of ourselves in the human way, in the soul way. And as a result of that, like begets like. And so the little
Yes.
cells and soul family and physical monads are coming together and the collaborations. And to your point, we're changing the world from the inside out. And I believe also you're right that we're moving into the second half, and it's where we awoke. Now, what do we do with it? And the greatest thing we can do in the physicality, because of the density, you know what I mean? The potential of creating something like we do in higher dimensions, we think of it and there it is. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Taking
Instant
out the
manifestation.
manual labor, so to speak, of constructing something is going to be our hugest potential. Um,
Yes. And I
so
think to reach that point, it's taken a lot of trust. We've had to trust ourselves
yeah,
and let go of the doubt and the fear and
yeah.
the, what if, and am I on the right path, or should I go back to the old way? We can't go back to the old way. There's
No,
just
you
no
can't.
way of going back
No.
there. It's that door is shut. So it has taken complete trust, like the Fool. I mean, I know you posted something about the Fool the other day. I've been getting that image all week about the Fool, and the beautiful rainbow coat and the white innocence and purity patch around the heart, and then just trusting, even though it might have been a cycle, we keep going round and round. We just trust that there's a part of us that knows where we're going and what's going on more than we do, more than the
Oh,
mind can figure.
absolutely. I have the highest respect for the, I'm not into tarot or anything, but I totally respect it. It's just not my thing. And I am familiar with the cards a little bit, not much, but I, my feelings for the Fool card from when I first saw it maybe years ago, and now is like night and day. Like I totally get this. Like I used to say, there's another way to say I am soul is that, I'm not afraid to show my ass. And I would probably rewrite that and say, because I have showed my ass. I wouldn't have showed my ass if I knew I was showing my ass. You know what I mean? But I did, and I did, and it was, I think another part of it, or to way to see it, is there's a spontaneous thing about it. There's a spontaneous thing about life. There's a magic in the spontaneity of it, and just
Yes,
going for a walk and see what happens. I mean, I talked about this on a few shows. I'll go out into the town and walk knowing that I'm going to have an experience, and most all the time I do. And it's
yeah,
it's it's almost like a switch is flipped in the mind game, you know,
yes. And
and it's
you're allowing the
yeah,
experience. You're
yeah,
allowing yourself to be one with the experience, almost recognizing yourself as co-creator
a
with the
creator,
experience.
creator.
Co-cre- Co-creator, yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, we're all going back. We exhaled, like you said, so well, and then we're coming back. That's going to be reflected the same everywhere. So if in
Yeah.
the we're going to merge back into the void,
Yes.
the mother's womb, and whether or not we come out in the same piece, and you're you and I'm me, or we go into the soup and a whole new generation is born. That's what I mean by I don't know if I'm going to be warm dirt or if my soul's going to go on forever. That's just me kind of being funny, but the bottom line is it's I guess if you could say that the words you just said, I am the creator, is part another way to describe what the heck's going on here, the level of awareness that's. And don't get me wrong, there's so much to this, right? I mean, you could talk ETs, you could talk inner Earth, you could talk parallel universes, you could talk nefarious galactics or whatever, demagogue, whatever, demiurge. I mean, but the reality is, in each and every case, what do you have? All I got is this. And this,
Self.
is more than me, more than this physical body. And that's why I say I am soul. I am soul. If I'm standing in front of the angel of the highest light, and I'm going to, because that would be very intimidating, wouldn't it? Right. So, but at the end of the day, that's what that higher love wants you to know is I am soul. I'm looking at me.
And
And then the same thing for the darkest devil, like it's really the other side of what is, to send you back to the middle, I mean, this summer I think is going to be pretty wild, the second half of it. I think,
Mm.
and for everything that happens, it's very distorted, or whatever, whatever, a bad experience, or you're seeing stuff that's pissing you off, or whatever the case is. Don't forget what you were saying at the beginning to everybody. What she was saying was that there's light coming in too. If
Yeah.
something's coming up and you're crying or whatever, don't forget the light's coming in. It's coming. It's here. I mean, it's
Yes.
in.
And that's an opportunity in that moment to recognize what is the teaching in this? What's the learning in this? Why did I put all
Mm,
the pebbles in a row to get to this path to understand this moment? And my feeling is the resistance has been, and I got this on a walk the other day, there's a part of us that has wanted to remain small, wanted to keep us safe because it's known. That's it's known and familiar. So if this part of us has resisted becoming the bigger part of us. But what I saw or realized the other day was there's no need for that part to be afraid of losing itself or losing its
mm.
identity. It's just going to become part of its bigger self, which is even better for it. It's like a drop. If you've got a drop of water and you put that into the ocean, the drop of water is still there. It's just become part of its bigger self.
That's right.
So there's
That's it.
nothing to be afraid of. We've got to just gently work with ourselves to say, I understand why we've been reluctant to grow or to allow this bigger part of us to come out. We've wanted to stay safe, but we can still be safe and be the greater part of us
Yeah. Yeah.
and connect to the universal consciousness as well. That was the feeling I got. That was the feeling I sensed, that why there's been this resistance to be totally free and to allow the greater part of ourselves to come out, because it is so powerful. I think a part of us doesn't really know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do then if I become that? Because I'm just used to being this. I've defined
Exactly.
myself as this. What happens when
Yeah.
I'm that?
Well, that's when people over the years say, we're afraid of our own power. And, I've said on this show for years, as we discuss these things over the years, which has been fantastic. And I'll say, well, I'll just pull it back and say, well, you know what? We might all just be beating at the same vibration. It just doesn't look that way, because we've been in a human experience. We've been embedded in a human experience. And part of in my opinion, part of the awareness of another symptom or characteristic of the awareness is seeing things for what they are. Okay. Um, and so there's things that aren't involved now, like judgment, or that are diminishing. I mean,
Mm,
that's how many people have had reunited with parents and siblings and this and that. I've heard so many stories. I've experienced it, especially in the last couple of years, 2, 3 years,
mm,
right? Um, that's the physicalization of our vibration, you know. I mean, you're talking about, say, in America or even in a Western country like Australia, you had the breakdown of the family. That
mm.
was, that wasn't something that went on for hundreds of years. That just started happening. The last century was a big setup. It was a big final kickoff. But like you
Yeah.
said, there's no need to worry. And even with what I just said, part of the awareness at the human level, in my opinion, with the soul's wisdom, is that everybody's everybody's going to get there. Everybody's the same thing. Um, I don't. It's okay, but from a human level, let them be. Like, let everyone
Yeah.
stay in your own lane,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
ultimately, that is the creator. The creator is everything. And when we start to go outside, now we're also imposing on the, the trajectory of other souls. Now, I'm sure we collide and we come together, and that's a natural attraction, magnetization, electric, magnetic, all that stuff, sacred geometry. But we're
Yeah.
coming out of the heaviest thing we've ever done.
Yeah.
So, the idea that the things that we talk about even today, we'll be talking about in 2 months, I think it's very possible we won't, because the awareness is moving so fast. Almost like for people that have had experiences um, with uh, apparitions or entities, third eye or not, or I would say physical encounters, be it animal, elemental, whatever.
Mm.
When I've had those experiences, their lips don't move, but I understand everything they're saying. So I think that's another thing that we'll see more and more evidence of as the days go by. Because
I remember having a
we're
dream.
getting,
I had a dream about 15 years ago. And in my dream, everything could talk in my room. The
yeah,
crystals were talking, the cushions were talking, the animal, like the figurines that I had everywhere, the little swans, the birds, everything in my room was speaking, and I could hear and understand what they were saying. So I think we will start to understand the birds and the animals. We'll start to, whether it's mental telepathy. I mean,
mhm.
at a certain extent, we can now, can't we? With
I
your
like I
cat.
said about the cats. I mean, this is
Yeah, the
crazy,
cats.
especially the female cat, because I've had, I wouldn't say I was an animal whisperer, but I've had energetic connection with animals since I reawoke in 2011. Huge. They follow me around like little kids, right? But I've not had the conversations I've had, particularly with this female, and she's not just representing her body; she's representing the feminine voice.
Yeah,
A couple of times something happened in my human experience, okay, and she reflected the feminine immediately, and even towards the male. Okay, there's a whole thing playing out there, like so.
yeah,
And that was a flash, that was a glimpse, but I think, again, another thing about this consciousness at the level that we're at or getting to or whatever, uh we can look back and everything is in line.
yes,
Okay, so we're already doing these things all this time, and we'll look back and go, oh yes, just like you were talking about with the seeds that you planted. Like, why did I enter this relationship? Why did I take this job? Why did I, this and that? And it all becomes obvious. They were like signpost, you
yes.
know.
Signpost. Exactly, exactly right. Yeah, it's so interesting, isn't it?
When you really think about it, it's mind blowing, because
Mm.
for me, I go out and sit by the bay. I'm going to do that here in a minute, and every day. And I don't know. I guess you could say, we have. I think all of us have had and do in the reality, the common thread, a constant communion. There's a constant ongoing conversation, Big Todd and Little Todd. And for me, after all these years, I go to the bay and let be what be. But in my own conscious way, I guess I would say I'm meeting life and death there, right?
Yep.
So I leave with no concerns about, you know, money, health. I just, whatever. And I accept that in some weird way they are the same thing.
Yes. Money and love, I think there's an interesting reflection or similarity of frequency and vibration. Money and love, I've always
Money and
felt.
love, huh?
Mm.
With what?
It seems to be a similar energy.
Oh, money.
Um,
Oh, like say like, okay, I think I get what you're saying. So like, you're saying like money and
the energy of
the
money,
human perception of love, the human perception of love. Like
yes,
there's an earth love and then there's a real love. And like you
yes,
said, the drop falls into the ocean and you don't lose it. It actually expands. So,
yes,
um, but yeah, I think from the human experience, absolutely. And you could throw other things in there too, fame, um, you know. idolatry or, whatever. I don't know.
Mm.
Okay. Well, man, I'm sorry, woman. I didn't mean to say man. This was fun. I enjoyed it. We'll
I
have to
did
do it
too.
again. We'll have to do
Good
it
to
again.
see you again. It's
Yeah, it's
been a
good to be
while.
back. I'm really starting to I'm really digging the new vibe with the show. It changed the name in the background. I'll probably change it again. I
Yep.
just put it back at Soulogy. But yeah, and I think that's part of it too. At least what's happened to me, because I let everything go. I shut everything down, and then I came back. And
Mm.
and and I'm finding that it's a whole different, and it's just one example, one man, one actions or purpose or whatever. But I find that to be in trust and faith, and I'm finding that thing you were talking about, which is now it's time to create,
Yes.
right? But it's a
Yes.
whole different thing, and I've thrown so much of it away. It's a whole different experience, I guess is what I'm saying. And I think
Mm.
that's reflective of what we're going to see as time goes on more and more, especially in these next couple of years, is we're kind of going through the energetic motions that we went through that previous 12 years where there was a lot of distortion and there was a lot of ups and downs. It's already
Mm.
seated. It's seated in us. We're on a spiral, and we're gonna have nothing but an expansive. I don't know how long it lasts, but it's going to, 1,000 years of peace, or what happens, or it's all up to us from there, or we'll get bored again to make another playground. But yeah, you can feel this thing. It's like a tsunami.
It is. And it feels like it is like the phoenix, isn't it? Like you've gone through your phoenix moment, you're rising again and rebuilding, but you're stronger this time. And I
Hmm.
think it's because we're centered now. We trust ourselves. We are focused into the heart. We know we won't make the same mistakes as we might have if we were, I don't know, maybe we came from Atlantis or other places where
Mm.
we might have abused the power or whatever it was. And I think we now trust ourselves that we won't let that happen again. That we know we are pure of heart, our intentions are pure, we can trust ourselves, and we
Yeah.
can create the great world, the great life for ourselves, and feel that we are totally in alignment, embrace the power without the fear,
Hmm.
and know that we won't misuse it or abuse it, that we're trustworthy.
Yeah. Well, that we trust ourselves. Oh, and you
Yeah.
mentioned trust. You can't. Ultimately, we've got to trust every single thing. And
Yep.
that's the leap we're taking. And I think as far as Lemuria, Atlantis, Avalon, Lion Kingdom, whatever we don't know about, because there's a heck of a lot more that we don't know about.
Yeah.
Because if then you go galactic or whatever, um, it's the same thing we're seeing now.
Yes.
It's the same thing we're seeing now, and that's really the cover up. The cover up is, yes, there were good memories there, and the fact that we remember and that we knew each other, blah blah blah. But the real story is, it's the same people basically. You know what I mean? They're the bad
Yeah.
player, the bad playmates, or whatever you want to call it. They're playing a role just like we are. But
Mm.
I think, and again, something like that, you know, coming in like a huge wave, like people talk about solar flare. What if everyone in the world knew tomorrow all about that stuff or something else? I mean, that would change the field dramatically. No different than when people do meditations around Christmas and they look at the field, they see a bunch of Santa Claus images. So
Yeah.
think about that in an extraordinary sense of something that's a huge part of our makeup. Yeah. But I think ultimately we gather all this information, and like you said earlier, what do we do with it now? And that's the phase that we're at. So even the stories, the only benefit of the stories and the memories is to give us more fuel for the fire to be present, knowing that can't help us now. The memory helps us, the information helps us, but we still got to act, and and
Mm.
and to be so, I mean, to be so faithful to make yourself the priority no matter what, and serve
Yes.
yourself in the greatest reverence as the creator from your own perspective. of yourself, of your field, um, that is the Trinity energy to me. That
It
is,
is, and
yeah,
without guilt, without feeling guilty about that. I think that's
yeah,
part of us have thought, oh, well, is that a selfish thing to do? And it's not, because if
no,
we're living our best life, then that energy radiates out to all life,
yeah,
and that's bringing that vibration up to a
yeah.
match. So it's the best thing we can do is to put
Take care of
self,
ourselves. Yeah,
yeah, take care of
take care of
ourselves and raise
ourselves.
our vibration.
Handle your shift so we can all
Yeah.
shift. But I don't think we want to shift so quick. The more we find out, I think we're going to want to stick around a little bit longer.
Yeah, and I think we want to have fun. We want to be
Absolutely.
playful,
We didn't come all this way
and
for nothing.
we didn't. And we didn't come here to be miserable either. We came here to have
No,
some
no, no.
fun,
Those
to
days are
play,
over. Yeah, those days are
yeah, to
over.
learn about who we are and enjoy the experience. That's why we chose to be here, to enjoy this experience, not to be miserable, not to suffer. I think all that
Oh, I think we
martyrdom,
did come to suffer. I think
do
we
you?
came to, absolutely.
I think we have, but whether
I
we,
I think the reason we came, if you want to put it in those terms, is to experience. Well, it's to experience at the physical level the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows. And you know as well as I do, you can only go as high as far as you've gone down low, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
I think
yeah,
the pain and the suffering. I mean, I wrote these when I was on the streets, 13, 14 years ago. Pain is my friend. The pain and
yeah,
peace became the same thing. Like I realized, like you were saying, why did I do this? How could I be so stupid? And then you're like going, and the universe is going, it's all you, dude. You made these
yeah,
choices. You carried that energy. So yeah, I think energy, personal, energetic health, personal soul health, however you want to put it, is a full-time job, and it's the greatest service at this time that we can do for anyone, and for the world. I mean, we're energy. We're balanced energy, or we're too charged this way or too charged that way. And I think there's a bunch of uh, a bunch of people that are, if not the whole world, really coming into this field. And I think a lot of conversations we won't be having. You know what I mean? We wake up from a dream, you know,
yeah. We'll be different, and
not
we'll think,
linear, because we're always wondering about how long is it going to take, how long is it going to take. That's part of the carrot on the stick programming bullshit, but it's almost like, oh my God. Well, I know you've had soul recognition with people. I guarantee you, I know you would have had that, where you run into
yeah.
somebody and you're like, holy
Oh,
shit, and
yeah.
you both just start crying,
Or
like,
you
oh my
feel like,
God.
oh yeah, I know you. I
Yeah.
know you from
Yeah.
somewhere. Yeah, from
Yeah.
somewhere long ago.
So
But I
imagine
think
that.
what will happen is, like you're saying, we won't talk about all this. I think we probably will forget it all. Like we forget these momentous,
Yeah.
like little
Yeah.
downloads. I think we will forget all of this, and we'll just be living this new life that we always knew we could live. We
Right.
always knew we could create. We just had to go through all these stages
And
of remembering to get here. So once we're in this new stage of consciously creating this new reality, we won't need to remember all the steps that we
no,
took to forget.
no.
you know,
And just remember too that everything is being revealed. So, and the other thing,
yeah,
and remember Mother Earth. Mother Earth's much bigger than all of us. She's the mother
yeah,
bird, right? And
yes,
and most of all the BS, you know what I mean? And that's another thing. We've come through all of it. Fluoride, GMOs, blah, 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 chemtrails. I mean, we're defying the odds, okay? And that can't be stopped, and she can't be stopped. So, this is going into a new dimension, and it's just not happening in a way that we can comprehend. Uh, and I think a big part of it, like you said, is letting go and letting it happen. So, yeah.
mm.
Anyway,
Trusting.
I wish you the very best. Blessings of peace,
Thank you,
love, and
Todd.
grace to you and your family. And we'll have to get
Thank
together
you.
again down the
Yeah, it'd be
road.
great.
I'm going to
I've
try to,
really enjoyed our chat.
yeah, I love it.
Good
I
to
loved it last
see.
time, and I'll see you
Yeah.
again. And thank you everybody for coming in. See you soon. I don't know when, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. I might just jump on like the old days and start